Good morning. It's brew day.
What's going on, all you homebrewers and wannabes? My name's Kyle, and this is Brew Ü. On this channel, I'm going to be brewing beer at home and share the process with all of you. In this episode, I'm going to be brewing up a batch of Ü Ep1. That's a recipe from Great Fermentations. Enjoy. So this is the kit that we're going to be using for brew day. We got a 6.5 gallon carboy. We got a great big boil kettle and spoon, slotted spoon that gets a good stir in action. You got your malts here, your grain sock. This is what goes in there, the grains, all different kinds, just depending on the beer that we're making. The beer we're making today is a Bock, so we got some light colored stuff, we got some dark colored stuff, and I don't know, I think it's going to turn out really good. You got some piping and a little air trap right here. You got yeast, letting this warm up before we activate it. And then right here, this is what's making the beer happen. This is the hops. Alright, so I guess we'll figure out the rest later. Now when you're brewing everything, you got to make sure it's all good and sanitized. Whatever your sanitizing solution is, make sure you look at the instructions and fill out all the proportions correctly. Because you don't want to use too much, because that's just wasteful. But you want to make sure you get enough to kill all the germs and bacteria, because that's going to ruin your beer. Alright, so right now we are getting the water up to temperature so that we can steep the grains. We're going to take these grains, we're going to put them in the sock, and then we're going to steep them. Kind of like tea, only more delicious. Now I don't know if you can see in there, but we got the grains steeping. Looking good. After that's been steeping for about 30 minutes, we're going to go ahead and reach in, grab the grains, take them out, because it's about done. Now the thing is here, boy, that's hot. When you get these out, you don't want them to squeeze the grains, because it's got all kinds of stuff in there that if you squeeze it, it's going to make the beer taste bad. So just go ahead, let them drain, take them out, and then we move on to the next step. Alright, now once the grains are out, you add the malt. Dry malt extract. Some people use liquid, but today we're using this stuff. You gotta make sure you keep it stirring, or else it's gonna be really hard to get everything mixed in. Awesome. More malt means more sugar, means more booze. That's what we like. Alright, so the malt has been added. Now you turn up the heat and try and bring it to a boil. Now you got to be careful about this because it's full of that malt extract and you don't want to leave it alone or else it'll burn. So make sure you keep stirring it while you're bringing it up to a boil, because you don't want it to get all crusty on the bottom, because it'll it'll leave your beer with a real burnt flavor. I did it with one batch before, and good thing I caught it in time. It left a nice little smoky flavor, but not everybody enjoyed it as much as they would have if it was gone. Anyway, we're about to see some excitement in a little bit, because just before the boil actually starts, the wort's going to rise up like crazy. And hopefully we'll be able to get that on camera. Okay, so the boil has started. All right. Now this is where you really got to keep an eye on everything, because if you're not careful, everything's going to boil over up to the top. Now we've got a pretty big kettle, and I didn't use quite as much water as I could have, so I think we're pretty safe right now. So once the boil begins, you add your first batch of hops. We're using 1 ounce of Hallertau strain, and once you add the hops, that's also gonna make everything kind of bubble up real bad. So make sure you just keep stirring, keep an eye on everything, and keep everything clean. Oh yeah, you can smell that, can't you? That's good. Alright. Alright, so I've already added the first set of hops at the very beginning. Halfway through, at the 30-minute mark, we went ahead and put in the second batch of hops to the boil. About 4.5 minutes ago, we put in the Irish moss. That's gonna put everything, all the sediments and everything, it's gonna help that sink to the bottom, just give us a clearer sort of beer. And then in 1.5 minutes, what we're gonna do is add the last of the hops. This is a triple hopped brew that I'm doing, and after that, we're just gonna let this little thing cool for a while. How about that? So a little trick is, if you've got some sanitizer left over, you can go ahead and siphon it into your carboy here, just to make things a little bit easier. Sanitizes. Make sure you sanitize your entire siphon system, your hoses, and once you get the sanitizing solution actually into your fermenter, just go ahead and shake it around a little, make sure it all gets mixed around. Alright, so let me explain what I'm doing here. Before I transferred the wort into the fermenter, I measured how much liquid was in there. Now the batch calls for 5 gallons, right? It makes one 5-gallon batch. Now in the boil, some of that cooked off, so I was left with 4 gallons. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to go ahead and sanitize the cap of this bad boy, and I'm going to put that extra gallon back in the fermenter. Got to make sure there's no germs. Now, when I add this water here, I want to make sure that, well, first that it's all getting in, but see how it's sloshing around like that? That's a good thing. We want to get some air mixed into that wort, because that's going to help the yeast grow. Give us a good amount of alcohol, and it's going to give us the right taste. Alright, so I followed the instructions on the yeast package, and now I'm ready to just pour it in. right, thanks for watching. That's the first half of Brew U, episode 1. I hope you were able to follow along, so I guess we'll have a fridge full of brewskis before you know it. Be sure to come back for the second half, where we reveal the final product and give you a sneak at what the next project is going to be. Till next time, you brew you.